Hello, everyone, and welcome to Final Show. I'm John, the executive producer here, and I've just got a few pre-show notes for you. First of all, I want to let everybody know that our addresses have changed. Our Twitch channel has changed from Senstaku to twitch.tv/FinalShowFilms, and our YouTube channel has also changed to youtube.com/FinalShowFilms. Next, we want to thank our $20 tier supporters on Patreon, which is patreon.com/FFilms, by the way, if you want to go throw a couple bucks our way. That's going to be Cat, Waterflame, Antitonic, Samantha Bates, and Maureen Montee. Thank you guys for that. Also, our website is in the process of getting updated, so go take a look at finalshowfilms.com. We've got Mara and Jeremy are working on updating all of our stuff there, making it look nice and like a modern website, and frankly, they know what they're doing far better than I or Austin ever did. So if you want to check out the things that are changing over there, you go do that. Follow us on Twitter at Final Show Films for updates for all future things, including things that are going on with our website and going on with the Patreon page, and things that are going on live as we stream them, as well as our podcasts and everything else. So thank you very much for watching. Y'all have a good day.
Live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hunter the Vigil Terminus Tendency. I am William, and I am the storyteller for this Hunter game, for this World of Darkness Chronicle. And we're short a couple of players today, but that's all right, because still with me today we have Jack.
Hey, everybody, I'm Jack. I'm playing Eamon Mulcahy, the Irish murder hobo of the Malleus Maleficarum.
And Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy. I am playing Nina Sky, a rock star from the Union.
And Craig.
Craig, I'm playing Paul Phillips, acquisition specialist for the Aegis Kaidoru.
And Holly.
I'm Holly. I'm playing Astrid, Knights of St. Adrian.
Yep. And when last we left off with this group, they had spent, well, half of them had, more than half, had spent a day on the golf course. You know, just trying the front nine, you know, and interacting with the very obviously Aryan peoples of that staff the golf course and interact around it, and getting a lay of the land of this probably vampiric homestead. And from there, while the two of the other members of the group interrogated a mage about the information that he held on the origins of Colleen and this mysterious creation of a mage known as the God Machine.
But nice interrogation. There were no thumb screws.
It's just one guy in a room by himself behind a two-way glass. Yep.
The way God intended.
The way the God Machine intended.
I'm going to be angry at you for Aaron's sake.
I feel like that one's also for Jack's sake.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
But at a certain point, Astrid received a phone call from Jonas Orion informing her that Jack Cross's crew was gathering around Gwinnett Place Mall, and another group seemed to be bringing in coffins, and Jonas had noted a very specific individual related to Astrid's history had arrived on site. And the group had formulated a plan for dealing with both vampires and werewolves getting together for some kind of conversation and potentially a brawl at the mall.
A mall brawl.
Yep. And
A mall room blitz, if you will.
yep. The puns are coming out strong.
I was going to make a slightly more modern music reference, but much less cultured, and say we were gonna treat them all like Avril Lavigne did in Skater Boy.
I was gonna say I don't know if referencing sweet counts as cultured, but
Ballroom Blitz by Sweet?
I'll take Ballroom Blitz is by Sweet.
Yep.
Holy shit.
I will take it. So thank you, but I don't know if it's deserved.
But their plan, as they put it together, was to kill everyone except for the individual that Astrid wanted to keep alive, and have Astrid have her heart-to-heart with that individual. Their plan for killing everyone was to light them all on fire.
Wait. Did everybody know that we're supposed to keep someone alive? Because I don't feel like that was communicated to Nina. Otherwise, she would have suggested large amounts of explosives.
You spoke to Nina?
Yeah, it was Paul, and I think we did one of those sort of propeller spins, and you see the map in the background where I just said Paul catches everybody up on the situation, but I don't think I specifically, I don't think we role played that conversation. So maybe that's where we want to start.
Yeah. So maybe while you guys are in the van heading towards the mall,
yep,
having a conversation about plans with a large amount of oil tanks in the back, gasoline tanks in the back.
By the way, yes to your question, Nina is absolutely fucking smoking.
I wasn't going to ask because I knew she would be.
Hey, so is this
don't botch a roll?
Is this a mix it with styrofoam sort of thing, or are we just going straight to the flammable fluids?
I mean, either way, it's up to you guys. We're heading to an abandoned mall, as I understand. So I imagine it will not be hard to if we need to be sneaky, if we can't have the opportunity to be sneaky, to pick up some styrofoam.
So for the storyteller who hasn't run World of Darkness a lot, why do you mix gasoline with styrofoam?
Because that's napalm.
Homemade napalm.
Okay.
That's not World of Darkness. That's Anarchist Cookbook.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which again, I have never owned, downloaded, or any other such thing. And
again, I have a storyteller who hasn't run World of Darkness a lot.
I'm just saying, a lot of people's first experiences with the internet is, where do I download the Anarchist Cookbook?
It's true.
Look, if we're open to advanced planning as far as our arrival, I certainly would put in my lot for just taking at least a moment between arrival and throwing Molotov cocktails for, let's say, taking in the scene as a whole.
I mean, yeah, that would definitely be ideal. I'm not entirely sure what the situation, like thoroughly what the situation is, but my thought was like, we have a sniper. We have barrels of gasoline. We have a vehicle. So we can do one of a number of things with it.
We're not blowing up the van, Eamon says.
I wasn't talking about blowing up the van.
I mean, if we're talking about these big ass canisters, I feel like we've moved past Molotov cocktail department and kind of gone straight into the Stalin kegger at that point.
Do we know where the things that we're dealing with are?
Not until we get there. I'd say we need to touch base with Jonas. He's been provided intel and keeping an eye on the entire thing.
Did he tell us which side of the mall that he was noticing activity?
Around the food court.
Okay.
Yeah, my thought would, like, if they're, if they happen to be hanging out like hoodlums outside the mall, which I think is probably a bit much to hope for, but if so, then drive by, throw barrel out before they realize what's happened. Somebody shoots the barrel as we drive away.
Well, certainly we could use that to take care of any sort of transportation they might have. that might not be a bad way to start. And then the rest of them are stuck there. But my concern would be if we take that out, the rest of them will withdraw inside the mall, and then we're heading into an unknown building with unknown numbers inside, and it's not really my sort of party.
So, William, I know I know there's been a few details about this mall expounded upon. How long has it been shut down?
This most recent shutdown has lasted for about a week.
What are the odds that Nina, being who she is, has spent a decent amount of time in this truly shitty mall?
I think that's a question that you can answer for me. Do you spend time in the shitty malls?
I mean, yes, because why would you spend time to she's not the hot topic kind of person is what I'm trying to say.
I'm just gonna list the traits of this mall, and you tell me if this is the place you would have hung out in. It was at one point the popular mall in the location until a different mall opened up closer to the major population center and people just started fluctuating there, at which point most of the businesses just kind of started closing down. Like the food court was barely even a food court before the body was found and for several weeks old. Okay. It was found because the janitor decided to go clean that area once a month. The businesses there's like a couple of them left. And before this most recent shutdown, the mall was being used to go film Stranger Things.
Okay. I mean, that sounds like a place that she would buy if she could.
I feel like she's probably shot at least one unpermitted music video sequence in that mall.
Like, she would buy that place and tell the drug dealers, you can still deal here. I don't even want to cut. Just stay. And maybe give me a discount.
So, yes, you might be familiar with this mall.
So, would I potentially know things like where boiler rooms are, where entrances are, where...
You definitely know where entrances and exits are.
Okay.
Boiler room and like inner workings that's not usually open to the public. Go ahead and roll me a wits and streetwise.
Okay. Wits and streetwise, both of which I have.
If this can be combined with that roll, Paul would also be very interested in knowing if there is a skylight over the food court.
Yes, absolutely. There's like they had like the big triangular glass ceiling.
That's what I figured. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that would be one success.
You do vaguely know where the generator and boiler rooms are. You don't know precisely, but you know where in the building as a general rule they should be.
So I know basics about the structure of the place, and I'm assuming that a mall this shitty is probably... I mean, it's a mall, so probably it is not positioned particularly close to any residential areas.
No.
We can blow this entire fucking mall up if we really wanted to.
Like the nearest place to the mall is the Atlanta Coliseum.
Can I make a roll? Yeah. Three drums of gasoline definitely carries a level of concussive / incendiary force. Is that enough to blow up an entire mall?
Not an entire mall, but a pretty good stretch of it.
If you can if you can blow them up in the vicinity of the boiler room / generator.
I mean, you'll definitely take out a lot of the infrastructure.
Out a large portion, and the mall will probably collapse on itself, and anything dead and walking around inside is gonna wish it was just dead.
Yeah, you could definitely like collapse a significant portion of the mall. You probably couldn't blow the entire thing out, but
all right, well,
I would say if you want to Google Gwinnett Place Mall and look at how it sort of looks like a Lego piece.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably take out that entire central square
How
with
do
the
you
3
spell
kegs.
Gwinnett?
GWINETT.
Yep.
GWINNETT.
That was the problem. I was like, I'm pretty sure I will get it eventually, but I's and Y's and number of T. Yeah. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can probably get us at least a decent shot at getting inside undetected, or at least unmolested. I just might not be able to help much with the maneuvering of the incendiary equipment. Dash up, we'll figure it out.
I mean, getting inside undetected is good. Getting inside never mind.
I'm right here, Colleen says in the back.
I was talking about me. Anyways,
all of y'all are the worst.
What?
All of y'all are the worst. You're just the worst.
This? All right.
Thanks, Colleen says.
Not yay.
Back in terms of planning,
yes.
If we might be able to get close enough, maybe I might be able to approach from the other side of the mall, get up onto the roof, and then take a look through the skylight, see if there's anything visible. Not that I necessarily think they'd be doing their coffin trade in the middle of the food court, but it wouldn't be the first time something horrendous has done something monumentally stupid.
I feel like the vampires' living arrangements are not where there's a direct view to the sky.
Oh, right. But what's your suggestion? We're going to go in there and we're going to find a bunch of corpses in the back room of a subway?
I was agreeing with you. Wow. No, I was absolutely agreeing with you that it's a good idea to look in there. I was just also agreeing that that is probably not where the hub of activity is.
Right. I mean, at least that way, if we see anyone moving, and if not, if it's totally clear, at least I can come back the way I came up and meet you all, and then we can reconnoiter on that side. Or I can stay up on top of the mall and give us a different vantage point from up high, looking at them as they come out.
I mean, you shouldn't go by yourself.
But if they're just making preparations right now, Eamon says, they're probably not going to get down to business until after the sun goes down.
Well, yeah.
What time of day is it right now?
Approaching after. It's mid-afternoon.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, we're fine. Yeah, go alone.
Right.
I mean, I'll have to stick with the. I mean, Astrid, Nina, are either of you skilled in the setting of demolitions?
Not
Define
really.
skilled.
You know anything at all about what the fuck you'd be doing?
I mean, I've read some things.
All right, how many?
I have worked with some pyrotechnics people. But if you're asking, would I know? Do I know specifically how to make a bomb? No.
Why is there no explosive skill in the new Darkness tree?
There is actually in the armory. You in order to set explosives, it says you have to take an explosive skill, a specialty in the crafts tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, otherwise, you're just rolling wits at a -3. Good luck.
Well, hold on, because I think in the other book, it said it's science, which is why I took points in science.
I do not.
It could probably go either way, honestly. Yeah.
You know what?
I would accept either a science roll or a crafts roll.
If I could take that science and put it into crafts, I'll do that now, because that's why I took the point in
science.
Sure,
yeah, you can go ahead and drop them over into crafts if you want to.
You know what? it might actually it might be a good idea to
So of the
find
group
the
of you,
nearest toy store or something like that and see if we can we can purchase some styrofoam from them.
you actually you ask Nina and Astrid, are either of you good with explosives? And actually, out of the corner of your eye, you actually see Paul kind of.
Yeah. Paul and Paul does say, "Well, I'm more on what we might call the artisan scale of explosives, but yeah, I do have some experience with them."
Oh, fair enough then. I'll follow your lead then. Most of mine have been cars in Belfast, as you might imagine.
I
Right.
I
Most of
was
mine
gonna
have been safes and locks, so not exactly malls, but principle I'm sure is the same.
Yeah, we could pool our resources then.
Okay,
In
yeah,
fact,
okay, so yeah, it's
usually when one's making when you've got two people like you and one of them's making bombs to blow the other one up.
so
Look,
to clarify and
Nina, there's more that unites us than divides us.
to clarify and let you decide where you want to put those points, Craig. And science is for making explosives. Craft is for arming and disarming them.
yeah, okay. Then he would be more in terms of the arming and disarming.
Okay, so you being crafts rather than science.
Yeah, so I'm gonna consolidate everything into crafts then, because I doubt he's a brew your own.
He's not a basement chemist. That one.
No, I think he probably picks them up from the local labyrinth to
Yeah.
use and takes them out to actually employ them.
So in response, yeah, okay, Brexit. What exactly is the plan?
Well, if I'm going to go early and get up onto the roof, I may as well take at least one source of explosives that we could use as a little bit of a surprise and leave it up there. So if they do go back inside, we could blow out the skylight, have them think we're coming in from the roof, and then have the rest of the approach be from the outside.
All right, I should be able to get these others inside with the barrels. We'll find ourselves a decent flashpoint and go from there.
I mean, it's daytime, so we shouldn't have to worry. They're probably going to have some kind of guardian, but shouldn't have to worry too much.
Well, I'll try and get the chant going, and that should at least get us indoors and to where we need to be.
I mean, if the place is closed down, I'm pretty sure we can get in there and find a dolly in the warehouse area of one of the places.
Would it be possible from the supplies that we have, and I realize most of what we have are basically just large scale substances that are incendiary in nature, but taking stock of what we have available or what we could get easily, would it be possible to whip up something where, for instance, you could make a small scale charge that would blow a window and then drop one of the larger canisters through it?
Ooh. Here's a thought. What if you just if we do get the styrofoam, because I'm still on board with that, just as much as possible, like just smear our little homemade napalm over the skylight, and then have the skylight rigged to potentially blow somehow, which will detonate and literally rain fire down.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Fire that will not go out.
Or if we can't do anything specifically to have it go off up there, just what I'm thinking is put it up there, have something that breaks a pane, and then have a barrel drop down, which will explode and spread out once it lands.
Could work.
Can I roll craft to see if we could pick up something at a the world's last Radio Shack on the way or something?
Well, if you're this is the thing I just described. If you're gonna try and make a bomb, it would actually be science.
Okay, so, but to make a detonator.
Yeah, to set up a detonator would be craft. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But like if you wanted to try and parcel the gasoline into like individual cocktails, would be more science. But if you're just trying to rig this tub to explode, would just be crafts.
I mean,
Damn it.
I feel like it's probably not going to be that difficult to take a little bit of gasoline, pour it into a few bottles.
No, it won't be hard.
Just explosive enough to ignite the napalm that you literally all you do is take styrofoam, put it in gasoline, let it soak.
Yeah, no, you'll be getting an equipment bonus for the tools in hand, but
I'll tell you what. I have 1 point in crafts for explosives and 1 point in science.
Perfect.
I was going to move the science into crafts. Are you okay with me spending the experience points to just buy a 2nd point in crafts?
Go for it.
And I'll keep the point in science.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get rid of my experience. And
I am here to make an enjoyable story for all of you. I don't really care if I
literally let ourselves blow ourselves up.
Exactly.
All right, so we're starting with science.
Yeah, so it will say to put together a variety of different explosive tools. You already have explosive payload on hand. You've got enough cloth and rags you've got like you're in a church van. You've got enough materials to set a fuse. So we'll say for the equipment that you have on hand, we'll say you have a +3 die equipment bonus.
Okay.
Can I potentially add an additional die to that by assisting?
Sure. So that'll be a grand bonus of +4 to your roll.
Can we stop and get a cheap timer so that we're not trying to light a fuse that will go off in several hours?
Yeah.
Actually, can we get a remote?
From like a random the last Radio Shack on the planet. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So intelligence and science +4 then, right?
Yep. +4.
All right.
I mean, Radio Shacks are still around. They just sell iPhone cords now.
3 successes. Okay.
Like that's seriously.
Oh my God.
That's about all they have anymore.
I went to one not too long ago to get a light bulb for my kid's science experiment.
Yeah.
So they're definitely still around and have random drawers full of bits and pieces.
Pretty much.
Okay. I assume we're meeting up somewhere, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to meet Jonas in the parking lot, I think, right?
Well, but I feel like we should maybe meet up somewhere else and then drive there together, right? Because I don't want to pull up into the mall parking lot, get out and be like, all right, hey, everybody moving coffins. We're just going to build some explosive over here.
But you can find a parking lot that's within a reasonable distance and just out of sight of the mall.
Okay, great.
So.
Okay, cool.
But with three successes, are you looking for quantity or quality?
With quality with regard to the timer. I don't want. To the remote detonator. I don't want anything left to chance there. And then as far as putting the others together, probably just quantity with regard to those.
All right. So let's see. You had 3 tubs of gasoline, I think.
Yes.
So parceling one of the tubs out into individual detonators. We'll say that I'm trying to look at the explosive list and see what's an appropriate gas bomb.
For reference, the standard sized barrel in the United States is about 31 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much gasoline, you guys.
Let's see. we'll equate it to a gunpowder bomb, just because it's not like real. It's not like high grade explosive material here. So,
I mean, unless you want it to be a fagasse, which is basically a barrel full of shit.
No, that's fair. Yeah, it's a big explosion, but not quite so much.
Yeah. It's not necessarily not force, but just area mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll say that you managed to out of that one barrel of gasoline, you managed to put together 3 timed explosives that are the payload equivalent of a standard fugasse, which is to say they have a blast area of, is that 25 feet or meters?
20. That's probably 25 feet in all directions, more or less. Yeah.
It's
a big ass area.
with a blast force of 3 lethal.
Right. So it's not like it's a shaped charge or anything, but it hurts, and you get 8 agains on it, and yeah,
and it sets things on fire and knocks things over.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Fugasse specifically causes 5 fire damage each turn because it's just a bunch of random burning shit.
Yep.
Right. Fair enough.
So yeah, you got we'll say 3 of these basically napalm Molotovs that you can set on a timer.
Okay. Great.
Side note, that was one of the few military acronyms I was not familiar with before now.
What, a Fugasse?
Yes.
Yep.
I know a lot of them. I had never heard that one before.
I'm pretty certain it's French for something.
No, it means fucked up, god awful shit.
No, the one in the armory is actually just a French term, Fougasse.
Oh.
Or FOU, yeah.
Yep.
Well,
that's Fugasse.
But it's about the same either
both.
way. Yes.
It really does.
All right, so yeah, you got those set up. What are you going to do with them, and what are you planning to do next?
Well, once we get to the mall proper, Eamon's gonna get out and try to invoke the Shepherd's Blessing. And basically anybody, he's gonna spend 2 willpower so that he can include everybody else in it, while Sean and Colleen and Drew probably go find their own sniper spot.
Yep.
And basically, as long as we don't do anything inherently aggressive, as we will potentially remain completely unnoticed or unremarked.
Okay.
So, well, as you pull up,
Mm-hmm.
as you pull up to the mall, it definitely looks almost completely abandoned from the side that you pull up. Which, knowing that you were heading somewhere around the food court, you sort of pull up from Satellite Boulevard. Which is the road directly north of it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you find a parking spot somewhere around there, you hear the rumble of engines, and a few moments later, you see Jonas's motorcycle pull up next to your van.
Paul looks up from where he is wiring timers. And,
Howdy, stranger.
Howdy.
Jonas, we got ourselves a bit of a party started indoors yet?
Well, things are still getting set up right now. I suspect the party won't be starting until after the sun goes down, which is still got an hour or two.
Do you know what exactly is happening here?
From what intel I could gather, it seems like these folks have some kind of conversation they need to have with Jack Cross. I don't know if they're giving information or making threats, but it looks like a parlay from what I can tell.
All right.
And if we were to, take some certain steps to ensure that our friends without a pulse didn't stand a good chance of walking away from that, is that something we need to notify Mr. Cross's compatriots of ahead of time?
Well, that depends on how much you want to deal with werewolves.
I mean,
in all senses of the phrase, because I mean, if you tell him, you have to deal with him in conversation. If you don't tell him, you have to deal with the aftermath of setting off explosives at a meeting that he was not aware of.
normally I am all about asking for forgiveness before permission. That said, when it comes to furry death machines, little less so.
That sounds prudent to me. I'd agree with that.
Our crossing company already present?
Yeah.
Damn it.
From what I can tell, they're both setting up bunkers. The vampire's crew is organizing and bringing in coffins shielded from the sunlight so that their folk won't be dead before they get there. And the werewolves are just setting up a sitting room.
Well, that does beg the question. Maybe it would be worth trying to go in while it's still daylight, so cut down on what we're dealing with, and that way we just crack open a few wooden pinatas, see which one contains the prize, and burn the rest.
I mean,
Well, but you've gone to all this work, Spanner. It seems to be a pity to waste it.
He grins and says, well, we did set remotes, so nothing to say that we can't set them off a little early.
so my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong here, is that the fuzzies and the fangies are meeting to work something out.
So that's about what I can gather at the moment, yeah.
They're not normally friendly with each other.
No, not
So
by
they're
a
gonna
long
be
shot.
expecting someone to attack. They're going to be paranoid, on edge, and looking for any hint of an attack coming all the way up through the meeting.
Seems
I
like
I would be if I were them.
Seems like an accurate read.
That also makes sense to me.
So,
Only problem is neither of them are like to use fire for obvious reasons.
right.
So if you're planning on blowing stuff up or setting stuff on fire, it's not exactly either of their modus operandi.
No. I'm more concerned about if that wasn't the case, it would have been. It's a shutdown mall, but exactly, it's a shutdown mall. There would be a certain level of playing dumb that some of us could make trying to get in there and position things in there as we wanted to position if we happen to be found. And we would not necessarily be being looked for, so we could move with a certain level of expectation that we might be able to be successful in being sneaky.
I mean, if the benediction works as it's intended to, we'll be able to just load these barrels up on a lorry and wheel it in, and they can watch us do it, and they won't think twice about it. We'll just be, oh look, and more people delivering things. All right, bye.
No,
that shit's creepy as hell to me, by the way. But
I know,
I'm not familiar on a grand scale with the benedictions of the church, but if I'm not mistaken, that magic hides persons, not necessarily objects.
Oh, aye, but as long as we're not doing anything aggressive with it, they'll just be like, oh, look, people doing it. I mean, I walked up to a man and hot-wired his car under his nose and drove off with it, and he barely even looked at me.
But what I'm saying is, if you walk away from those bombs,
at that point, then somebody will be like, hey, what's all these things here? Yeah, that is a risk.
That's, of course, if they're in a place where they can easily see them.
So,
About how many of them are there?
3. We just finished.
No, I assume she means enemies.
Oh, that.
I haven't been able to get a good count on at least the vampires. Jack Cross seems to have brought himself, and from what I can gather, 3 more.
Okay.
that's a lot of claws.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just here for the fun. Not literally, but you get the idea.
Is there anything preventing us from going in and saying, afternoon, Mr. Cross, we understand you've got a meeting with some individuals that we'd prefer to see in ash and buried under several meters of concrete. Would you mind horribly us blowing up the whole shite as soon as you get you and your squad clear?
Whatever's bringing him to the table most likely would stand in the way of that.
Well, we should find out what's bringing him to the table.
Let's go in and have a chat.
Let's talk. I don't know if I've ever talked to a werewolf before. This will be exciting.
All right. Well, diplomacy it is.
Do we just...
I used to have a pistol named Diplomacy.
As a point of caution, do we still perhaps want to put some of the explosives in place, or do we want to start off by making contact?
If you all want to go make the contact, I don't mind loading these fuckers up and getting them in place, at least.
At which point,
Let's
Eamon kind of...
ask before we start putting the explosives around the werewolves.
Fair enough.
At which point, Eamon's kind of... Well, you guys go and ask. Drew and I are going to take the wee Colleen here and find a high vantage point with a good view.
Good plan.
Right.
Looks at Colleen and says, "Are you all right with that?"
Further away from the vampires is good, yes.
Okay.
And the explosives.
And the explosives, yeah.
Good. You'll be in very good hands, and the rest of us will be nearby, but probably in a lot deeper shape than you are. So, if something, if trouble comes up, and he is addressing all 3 of them at this point, if trouble comes up, get back to a further safe distance if it looks like they've spotted you. All right, you can come in and see what's left of us after the point, but no sense in right now in us losing more than we need to.
Angels at your back, brother.
And the devil running from you. And the 3 of them head off to go and find a good sniper spot.
Right, well, should we go have a bit of a chinwag with some werewolves then?
All right.
Well, as Jonas kind of turns and starts to head into the mall, well, I guess that means follow me then. He says as he pulls a cigarette out from a vest pocket and just kind of proceeds to light up as he walks.
Eamon takes a couple seconds to do the reverse of the Chekhov's armory, and just loads up with all of the blades he has.
Now I have to ask, are you using the golf bag from last time?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Still got the golf bag.
Nice.
All right, so assuming all of you follow Jonas.
Yep.
Yep.
He leads you inside the food court, and kind of walks up into the center of it. And as you walk in, you see this food court's been abandoned for a while. Like the signs where all of the individual businesses had set up their little like 6 feet of stall of like booth on the sides of the wall have are still hung there, but look like they haven't been maintained in a while, and a lot of them are just kind of like slowly falling apart. And the plants that they use for decoration to sort of separate the seating areas are all dead. The some of the tables are overturned, so there's chairs that are missing or just sitting in the middle of nowhere. The area looks like it's been mopped a couple months ago. And as you walk in, Jonas kind of walks toward the center of the food court to like this sort of cross area where all of the like there's like 4 major sections of seating with like a walkway connecting them that's sort of cross shaped. And as he sort of stands in the dead center of that and looks around, takes a drag on his cigarette. We're looking for the defenders of Gaia, he says out loud to the air. And a few seconds later, there is the sound of a metal door swinging open, slamming into a wall. And then the sound of numerous hard-soled, well-tailored shoes clicking across the floor as a familiar, scarred and sort of greasy, black-haired individual with a retinue of 3 more over his shoulders kind of approaches from around one of the corners in the food court.
Anybody we recognize from the nightclub?
Yeah, the bald one with the black glasses. You do recognize as one of the individuals that had been with him at the nightclub. Okay. And he sort of walks out into the open. Well, you got our attention at the very least. It was pretty bold of you to just walk in and call for us.
I mean, that's sort of how we do. Hi. You'll have to forgive me. This is a little awkward. I'm not sure what if there's a proper etiquette to this, but it's come to our attention that you're having a meeting with people of the not quite living variety.
And what about it?
Well, we want to make those not quite living people a little more solidly in the not living category.
Yeah, you and me both, but there's business to be done first.
Right, and pardon my interjecting, but that's why we're here. We were able to work, I feel, very nicely with you, with that disturbance outside the nightclub. We don't wish to step on any toes or paws, but so we want to find out when your business will be concluded, and make sure that we're not working at cross purposes to step in and take care of what we need to after the fact.
We don't want to burn you up.
Paul doesn't say anything out loud, but just sort of points over at Nita. Like, exactly.
Well, Problem is, the information that I'm getting from this individual and his compatriots, I made the deal that I would be getting this information in exchange for safety and safe passage in and out and the ability to leave unharmed. So I'm afraid I would have to be violating my word to allow you to kill my deal making just because I've got the information that I've got.
Right. Can I ask you a
well,
question? What information are you getting from these fuckers? What are you seeking from them, I should say?
That's something that I don't know that I've built up enough trust among those of you who keep the night in more mundane ways. I don't know if I've built up enough trust to let you know what I'm looking for.
Well, the reason that I ask is how to put this. Well, there's a couple points to why I ask. The first is rhetorically because I feel the need to remind you that whatever you're seeking will not be what they supply. Dead things don't tell the truth.
I've got something of a nose for lies, but yeah.
And
Well, if you've got a nose for lies, then I'd like to put that to a bit of a test, if you don't mind. We intend to fucking level this place and make sure that none of those goddamn corpses have any chance of walking out of here still upwardly mobile. Am I lying?
He sort of looks at you for a second, sort of sniffs the air. Nothing you said was immediately false.
So what we're trying to do here is offer you the courtesy of at least letting you get have a shot at getting what you want before we engage our plan. About how much time will you need?
The problem with that is that if I do let you just blow them up, as much as that would be personally satisfying, I have a reputation to keep. And I'm not somebody who goes back on his word.
Well, two points with regard to that.
There's a bit of a chance. See, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there seems to be a lot of interaction between I legitimately, honestly mean no offense by this. I just don't know how to phrase it better. All of the things that go bump in the night. And we've become aware of it and are sort of doing our own looking into it. So there's a very good chance you may not have to even deal with them, but first we have to know what you're looking for. And I understand that trust is an issue, and I get that. I would point out that if we were trying to be untrustworthy, we just wouldn't have bothered to tell you anything, and we would have blown everybody up and let whatever my good Irish friend hears, God sort them out.
Paul
my
nods
God
and
would
says,
just point and laugh.
Paul nods and says, right, and you mentioned that you're not sure that we've built up enough good faith. I certainly think coming here, putting ourselves at risk to bring you news of something that might be against your interest, I think that goes a long way to showing good faith on our part, just to show you that we're trying to deal with you fair and square.
Exactly.
And as to the other issue, I'm not sure what sort of bargain you've made, but unless you've personally guaranteed their health and safety in perpetuity, then I think once your deal is concluded, you're done. We're not asking you to make a distraction. We're not asking you to cover for us or to put in a bomb. We're just saying, look, we want to know when you'll be finished so that we don't burn any tails on your way out. And then after that, it's our show after yours is finished.
I think the concern as far as that goes is, as Mr. Cross has said, he's promised safe passage. That
To the
means
point.
making sure they leave.
To the point. I'm going to be escorting them where they're going after this.
Right.
And did you specifically offer that you wouldn't state where that would be?
No, see, the thing is, where they're going is related to the information that I need from them. Because if what they have is what I need, they'll be leading me to it.
Fair enough, but what? So I think that brings us back to my friend Nina here's original offer of what is it you need? Maybe you don't need these fuckers to take you there.
We might know.
Because let me tell you, sir, we've run across a powerful lot of very interesting information, all of it pretty solidly verifiable here, and that's just in the last couple of days.
And you see he sort of like the clench of his jaw for a second as he kind of clenches his teeth for a minute, and you see the very slight peel back of the lips over fangs as he just kind of suppresses the growl. See, I know that you don't know what I want to know, because if you knew where my mate was and didn't tell me, I would not be having this conversation with you right now.
We don't know that, no.
Hmm.
Wait a minute.
Well, does your mate like to golf?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm not sure of I'm not sure what your what dynamics are, anything like that. But are you saying are you saying that your, let's just say, significant other is missing? The vampires know where it is, and you're going to give them safe passage to tell you?
Specifically, they're going to bring me to where the fuckers that have her are. And then they're going to go on their merry way while I rip them a fucking sunder.
Oh, yeah, that's certainly not a trap.
Is it other vampires that have her?
A moment, actually. I don't mean to pry into your personal affairs, and I swear to Christ that I'm not trying to pull anything over on you, Mr. Truth Sniffer lad there. What's her name?
You're fishing for Colleen, aren't you?
Fuck yeah, I am.
No, Tara.
Tara? She have a last name?
Dust Willow.
Moment, if you will. Hi, Sean. Tara Duskwillow. See if Colleen knows where she's at.
And is it other vampires that have her? Or is it something else?
According to my previous conversations with this individual, something else.
And what sort of thing would that be?
That one's complicated. And a little bit beyond the ken of people who aren't familiar with this kind of dealing.
Can I ask?
Try us.
I'm going to ask. You can answer, or you can't, or you can choose not to. But what do they want in return?
They want away from the nonsense that this colonel's apparently been pulling with the local vampire population. And I'm inclined to give them a hand, because the less people the colonel has at his command, the less trouble he's able to cause.
Could you tell us the name of the individual you're meeting with?
Give me 1 second as I try and remember where I put my fucking notes at.
There are those that call him.
Fuck. Holly, can you whisper me that name again? 'Cause I seem to have misplaced it.
Well, that answers that.
Yeah. I also do not know how to do the whisper thing on here.
/W space and then the name of just type /W space William and it'll show up as a drop down.
/W space William.
And then you see, you should see it drop down from the menu.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Click on that.
And then type what I'm going to
type whatever you want to send. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
I thought that was his name, but I wasn't certain. It's a fellow by the name of Archer.
All right.
Just really quick out of character clarification. Because it was sort of, it wasn't really are the people who are on the other side of the phone aware of the fact that Astrid has a personal stake in this? Was that communicated over the phone?
They're aware that she has a personal stake in this. I don't think you ever said your brother's name.
Not to the people over the phone, but she told Paul. I remember that.
That's where, whether it was, because I know there was a conversation that was had between golf team.
Yes.
And then certain communication, so I'm just not sure.
I think what was established was that Astrid has a personal stake in one of these vampires.
Okay. Fair enough. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. This individual by the name of Archer is wanting me to pull him and his coterie away from the evolving machinations of the colonel.
Paul will look over at Astrid sort of to see if she recognizes that name.
There is definite recognition on her face. She's trying to keep a hard face right now, but you can tell.
Paul will sort of turn around so he's facing away from. Do we know this individual's name yet? The bald guy.
The bald guy? No, you don't have his name.
Okay. Paul will turn around so his back is to that person to look at Astrid and mouth, "Is that your brother?"
She'll give like a slight nod.
Okay. And he'll reach out, and if she'll let him, we'll put a hand on her shoulder.
She'll let him.
And kind of just squeeze and kind of nod at her, and then we'll turn back and keep paying attention to the conversation.
So unless you know where Cara Dustwillow is and can bring me to the fucking worm spawn tainted fucking, and you see him kind of try and suppress the rise of anger.
All right. Why not tell us a little bit more about this worm spawn? Paul, by the way, is still sort of mentally recalibrating because when he said mate, he assumed buddy. But you might be surprised. We have and he looks at the others and says, let's say a breadth of experience. One of us might know something that might be helpful.
Sean, any update now would be better, faster than slow.
At which point, you hear back from Sean. She doesn't know a fucking thing.
Damn it. Sorry, what?
Let's just say that a lot of the imbalance and problems in this world can be traced back to the machinations of a creature of immense evil and abhorrence by the name of the Worm, as he becomes Irish instead of random New Yorker. As I try and work too many accents at once.
Listen.
And the thing about it is that's our job, is to deal with the Worm and the things that it spreads into this world and the things that it touches and taints and twists and corrupts. That's what the sons of Gaia, the daughters of Gaia, all of us who walk the path of the moon are here for, is to kill the Worm wherever it shows up.
Okay. Listen. Jack, can I call you Jack?
Sure, why not?
I get what you're saying. I mean, I understood about 30% of that, but I get what you're saying. In terms of what you're trying to accomplish, in the immediate term, totally get it, totally on board. Certainly don't want you not to get Kara back. That said, we are incredibly dedicated ourselves to dealing with these particular vampires. There's a way we can make a deal. I just need you to tell me what it is.
I mean, if you want to follow us to wherever they're going to bring me and deal with them after they've gone out of my reach and I am no longer protecting them, feel free. But I can't let you set up explosives here to try and deal with them because I'm going to be walking out the door with them.
I'm looking back to everybody else.
Paul looks over and says, you know, if we might, I feel perhaps you have us at a disadvantage. Might I ask your name?
You're looking at the bald one?
Yeah. He's the one who's looking for his mate, correct?
No, Jack is looking for his mate.
Oh, Jack is looking. Okay, then I've been misunderstanding the speaker the whole time.
Yeah. Sorry. Running 3 different accents is
God,
accent blends.
That's on me. All right. Then Paul, rather than that, Paul says, Mr. Cross, if you could give us just a moment to confer.
Sure. Go ahead.
And then we'll step. Maybe step. Can we step outside? Or step
sure.
out.
Sure.
Okay. Paul will head for the door and sort of wait and see if the others will follow.
Yeah, follow.
Follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got 2 options. We could take them up on their offer, follow them along, or we could just go ahead with our original plan and fuck it.
We could say we're going to take them up on our offer and then blow them all up.
Right.
John just kind of looks over. You all right, Astrid?
I'm fine.
Paul also looks at Astrid and says, "Look, I mean, this is your play.
Yeah.
How would you like to approach it? I'm not tremendously in favor of biting off more than we can chew, and while working with werewolves is not my favorite pastime, in this particular case, the enemy of my enemy might be my ally."
I think we should let them have their meeting and follow them. I think that's going to be the best course of action.
And are you wanting to be present at this meeting?
I mean, that's another thing that we could ask. We could ask, hey, can we sit in?
I don't want him to see me yet.
It's just fair. I mean, am I to be able to make it so that you could watch him without him really noticing you? But if you're not ready for that, then your choice.
No, I would go for that. I just don't know what he will do when he sees me.
Well,
that's fair.
We could certainly offer to go, or at least some of us, or all of us. Astrid, if you prefer not to go, certainly understand. But some of us could go along with the werewolves to the meeting. I just am not particularly sure how the vampires might react if they suddenly show up with additional people in tow. I'm not sure if they know exactly how big the pack is.
Go bad as far as that goes. And I don't want to fuck Jack's goals. That last word there was important clarification.
Just an offer, not a demand or anything.
No, absolutely. But
I definitely think there's a lot more that we can learn out of this conversation if we're able to actually listen in on it.
I want to be in on that conversation for greater picture value in terms of understanding how these two groups interact, etc., etc., etc. We don't have to show up with him. We just have to say, "Hey, Jack, do you mind if we show up at some point?" Because if we show up with him, that could be, I don't know. Well, if we show up with him, that could cause that could you're changing the terms of the meeting, blah blah blah, Godfather posturing.
Honestly,
I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. That sort of thing.
Well,
honestly,
that's Star Wars, not Godfather.
If we could just,
I think,
if your magic works as good as you seem confident that it does, we could just let him know that we will be hidden in a different location, observing, and just be in the corner of the room watching the proceedings.
Well, I might have an approach that wouldn't even require us to be in a room.
Ask the guy. Ask if we can give Jack a call before they start the meeting, and leave his phone in his pocket.
Not even a call. And Paul pulls out one of his coins and runs it across his knuckles. He's already familiar with these particular artifacts. So maybe we'd buy ourselves a little bit more goodwill if I approach him openly about it this time.
Do we know what kind of werewolf Jack is? Like, is he one of the fighty kinds or is he one of the magic kinds? Because I don't know.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, what the fuck?
There are non-magic...
I'm pretty sure he's one of the fighty kind. Did he tell us? They did tell us that they were... which tribe they were, right?
He mentioned that among his pack were several members, including some of the Uktena. And he mentioned the Uktena specifically because he knows that because he seemed familiar enough with your order that he figured you would recognize that clan name.
Okay.
but even you don't know quite enough to know the delineations of werewolf auspexes.
I was not aware that there was any difference between. I thought werewolves were werewolves.
I was going to say, if you bring knowledge, you have to bring enough to share with the rest of the class.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's just say I've been the diplomat a lot more than I've been comfortable with at times, and I've had to pick up a few things. Let's just say werewolves have about as many different specialties as we do, and some of them do magic shit.
Go good.
And I don't get all of it, but
so you're saying that in addition to the garden variety big furry balls of sooner than instant death, there are big furry balls of sooner than instant death that can do wizard
that
shit
are also
too.
Wizards.
Well, see, my biggest concern was that when he said you had a nose for lying, I think he might have been quite serious about that.
So if we get into a fight, blow his nose off. I understand. Is this like a bewitched thing?
I have no fucking clue, man. I legitimately have no fucking clue about how their bullshit works. I just know that I've seen.
All right, so there's some weird shit other than just we turn into a rage monster that's basically a wandering wood chipper.
Right.
Can I roll to see if I know anything about it?
Yes, go ahead and roll me intelligence and occult. You're going to need a lot of successes.
That's fair.
You're going to need more than Jonas can get.
Fair enough.
Sometimes I, as a player, realize that I am older than my PC and thus understand pop culture references that my PC probably doesn't.
I got a 0, so I do not know.
No clue.
What you're talking about.
Let's just say you would have needed an exceptional success or more.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I just figured there was a possibility, but
there was.
Apparently not.
If you'd rolled enough 10s, there was a possibility.
Yeah.
So regardless, so are we?
So we've got the walk in and nobody notices us because I've done my job right. We've got the Paul goes in and asks him, hey, do you mind taking this shilling with you? And then we've got the fuck it, blow them all up, who doesn't give a shit. And what else we got?
I think that's not exactly.
They literally just follow, except Jack's offer to follow them wherever.
You're right. Skip the meeting and the blowing up entirely and just string along behind until they get ready to
blow them up wherever they end up going.
I mean, if your benediction magic works the way it does, then I'm all for that plan personally.
I vote however Astrid does. This is your thing. I'm not going to go against whatever you want.
I would like to listen to the meeting, if at all possible, but I would not like to actually be there, be seen.
Seems to be what your magic's for, right?
Aye, we can stay well out of sight that way, and nobody will really look twice at us as long as things go according to plan. And in the fairly unlikely event that they do spot us and actually take notice, we make sure that Astrid stays undercover first.
How about let's cut our losses? Or not cut our losses, but hedge our bets. Two very different things.
Yes.
Rather a bit.
Let's... You and somebody else. Maybe it can be Paul. Doesn't matter. Chill out at the meeting. Under your godly magic shit. And the others hang back. We can say you and whoever can observe, can record the meeting audio wise.
If you're looking for a quiet place, I can help out. You hear a quiet and wispy voice sort of echo in, sort of blown in on the wind.
Nah.
Oh, what?
What the actual fuck was that?
As the group of you turn, you see sort of leaning on the corner on the outside a long black hair sort of flowing down the side of this pale, almost alabaster white skinned human with these painted icy blue lips and these cold ice blue eyes.
Cookery's out.
Yep.
Stand and be recognized.
I actually think that, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but how close are they?
Like 15 feet away from you.
Do I need to roll to see if I'm already attacking with the watchful Kepris?
No.
Okay. All right.
She's kind of got her hands in her jacket pockets. Her jacket is like big winter coat style, like big fluffy coat with like the fur lining on the inside.
Look here, Killer Frost.
Good one. Nice.
Who are you and what fucking what?
It's rude to butt in on conversations without introducing yourself first.
Sorry, you're just so loud. You're just so loud and easy to overhear. Sorry.
Who are you?
You can call me Shakes.
Really?
All right. And what's your play here?
Let's just say the bigger and flashier people that are having a meeting here. I'd like to know what's going on too.
Are you not with Mr. Cross?
No.
No, she's not.
Wait, you know this
I know of.
woman?
I know of.
Care to enlighten the rest of us?
I am correct in remembering this is the changeling, right?
That's what you've heard. You've heard of a changeling named Shakes.
Basically facilitates.
Oh, that's right.
Etc. This is she puts people with like-minded goals together from across. Let's call it metaphysical demographics.
She got a pulse.
Yes.
She got our kind of pulse.
Kinda. Mostly.
She's not one of us, but she's not terrible.
Do I and I honestly can't remember. Is that something that the rest of us know in character, or is that something that Nina found out just personally?
Nina and I believe Drew found that out, and I don't think the rest of you did.
There was definitely some conversation about Shakes, because I specifically remember saying something vaguely deceptive to keep people from just hunting down this person.
Yeah.
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, and apologize if I'm coming across as crass then, but what the fuck are you?
I'm just someone trying to stay on this side of the veil and not draw the attention of things that are way too big and way too dangerous.
That's lovely and vague and not at all what I asked.
Yeah, well, the thing is, from my experience, if I tell you guys too much, you start shooting.
She's Tinkerbell touched.
Holy shite, the fair folk.
And if I recall correctly, you're involved in...
Right, you're Irish. You know this stuff.
Oh. And Eamon gets very suspicious very damn fast.
Let's just say there's a lot of people who've been through a lot of bad shit and want to live as close to a normal life as they can. And these guys are disrupting that pretty heavily.
Yes, but on the other side, Miss Shakes, you've just walked up to us out of nowhere and offered an unsolicited deal.
Also legit.
And forgive me if we may be coming at this from two sides of the same coin, but I've had an entire childhood telling me that the very first thing I should be doing is finding some salt and throwing it in your face and running like fuck for the hills.
I don't give a
See,
fuck.
no, salt's for the Fae themselves, not for me.
Yeah, Tinkerbell touch, not Tinkerbell.
What the fuck
I don't
is
know
going
what the difference is, but apparently there is one.
But I mean, if you want, I can lay out what kind of deal I'm offering.
I mean, can we not call it a deal because lay it out, we'll say no or maybe yes, and we'll see how it goes.
Whatever
Well-
else she might be, from what I understand, you're a business person, correct?
That's pretty accurate.
So let's hear your business proposal.
Sure. I want to find out what's in there.
In Shark Tank with a fucking leprechaun.
No, they're much worse.
Shark Tank or the Leprechauns?
The leprechauns. The leprechauns are way worse.
I was gonna say Shark Tank too.
Yeah, but I mean,
Have you watched that show? I actually haven't, but I assume it's really bad because it's
but
ABC.
I want to find out what's going on in there too. You guys want to find out what's going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
I need magic. And the kind of magic that I need comes from you guys.
Okay.
And if you guys will give me a hand, I'll get us all in there quietly in a way that they shouldn't be able to find us unless one of you breaks ranks.
When you say comes from you guys, I really like my bone marrow, so
No, nothing that any of you would feel or recognize.
we're still gonna need clarification.
Yeah, Paul says, yeah, it's funny. I've actually read a description very similar to that on quite a few contracts we've seen come through various labyrinths, signed in blood.
Oh, no, nothing. I don't need your soul. No, I don't need your soul. I'm sorry if I came across like that.
No.
You did a bit.
Regardless, we want very specific, concrete, understandable details and not, no offense, vague, floofy bullshit.
I mean, if I just kind of give away all the secrets of how we work, it kind of puts all of us at risk. But suffice it to say that you guys who haven't been through horrible, terrible experiences have an amount of yourselves that is really magic, even if you don't realize it. And you guys just kind of generate it throughout your lives. Every time you feel strong emotions, every time you dream, every time you just live your beautiful lives. And honestly, it bleeds off of you at times. And those of us who have been through really bad, really terrible things, who don't have access to that stuff anymore, but can sort of glean what bleeds off, can use it for our weird magic.
Okay.
I'd like to roll for bullshit, please.
You can roll me a wits and empathy.
Okay.
One success.
She seems like she's being completely honest.
That's what Damon's afraid of.
So, I guess the question is, we know in a vague, adorably rose-colored glasses way what you want. How do you get it?
We shake hands and you agree to my deal.
Oh, fuck no.
I knew that was coming. The response, not you.
2 successes.
She seems completely honest.
Okay. Can I roll intelligence and occult to see if this pans out against anything I may have heard?
Yeah, you're gonna need a lot. Not as much as you would need to know about the werewolf stuff. But
I just want an empathy. I want an empathy read.
Go for it.
Of this person means. Let's see. With sympathy.
Yep.
Just 1 success. I'm sure that won't cut it.
You know that deal-based magic is a thing that some things do. The demons do it. It's sort of what they're known for. Changelings you don't know a lot about, so you don't know what to expect out of them.
2.
I'm
looking for I'm looking for a morality read, basically.
She seems to be... You're having a hard time reading malice off of her.
Okay.
She seems to be a little stiff, but not like hiding things. What you're sort of getting off of her is that she's just kind of uncomfortable in a lot of ways and just trying to provide as much of what she is trying to convey as safely as she can. She seems just about as worried about this as you are for different reasons.
Do you need something from all of us to hide all of us?
No, but the more of you that contribute, the easier it'll be to do.
Nina, we should not be talking to this woman.
Day as well. I'm not. Well, I can admire a good drive for business. This isn't a deal I'm particularly excited about entering into.
This is gonna get us what you. How specific are the terms going to be? Actually, no, lay out the terms first.
All right. In exchange for... What's a term that I can use that's appropriate? We'll call it glamour.
Okay.
In exchange for an amount of glamour from each of you.
No.
Or from whoever is willing.
Okay.
Enough to fuel my magic. I will offer you a hole in the wall, a location within the realm of the meeting where you will be unseen and unheard so long as you remain within it and do not break from my protection, where you can observe this meeting without being noticed.
This is a one-time exchange.
This is one time.
Ongoing contract. Once it's a one and done. All strings cut once.
Absolutely.
We come out of supernatural hiding.
One task from you, the giving of glamour. One task from me, the hiding of you for this meeting.
Do you need it from all of us or just one of us?
Whoever's willing. Again, as I say, the more of you that give it, the easier and better the hideout will be.
You need strong emotions?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it.
That's
Astrid,
two.
We can do this ourselves. We don't need her.
Whoever's in, just kind of lay your hand atop mine. She says as she extends her hand.
Astrid will lay her hand.
Astrid, don't.
Paul puts his hands behind his back.
Oh yeah, Nina's put her hand in.
Anybody else?
Nope. This is
not on your life.
What you got?
All right. And she lays her hand on top of both of yours. Then it's a deal. And in that instant, you feel this cold winter wind blow through the area. Both of you spend a willpower.
Okay.
All right.
And you feel this sort of tingle at the back of your neck. It's not unpleasant, it's just odd. And it passes just about as quick as it came. And she kind of takes a breath in. Okay. That was an exquisite conflict. I'll use that term, ma'am. She says, looking at Astrid.
Paul leans over to Sean and says, "No, she's just fucking making it creepy."
You don't deal with this type of thing.
Too late, Don. Let's go.
The McKinley brothers are a bad influence. I didn't initially picture Paul being the kind of person who swears a lot, but I think he's doing it more the more he hangs out with the twins.
Also, y'all keep calling me my brother's name, but I get what you're
I
after.
was gonna say
sorry. Maybe I was talking to him.
Eamon puts a hand on Paul's shoulder, and he's going to invoke Blessing of the Shepherd.
I mean, I can cover all of you if you want.
He just gives her a look.
I think you lost that fight, honey.
I mean, I can still cover all of you, even if I don't have
No,
glamour
that's
from
what I
all of you.
mean. You lost that fight.
What does Blessing of the Shepherd do?
Basically, I roll my wits benediction, and he's going to spend an extra willpower for the extra 3. And basically, as many successes as I get on that, any humans just don't ever notice us unless we do something inherently aggressive to them. And any supernatural creature takes that many penalties to any sort of wits and composure to try and see us at all.
Okay.
We can be standing in front of them doing jumping jacks, and they still take those penalties.
As long as you keep muttering that prayer.
As long as and he's just going to be mumbling under his breath the entire time.
Will that cover you as well?
Yeah, it covers.
Okay.
Since he spent the extra willpower, he can cover basically up to 5 other people. So it's going to be the 2 of us.
Okay.
So wits plus 8. Don't fucking fail me. 7 successes.
Nice.
Okay. So anything that tries to see you and me that's supernatural takes a -7 to its wits and composure.
Does Paul have a concept of that, or is it just? I mean, is there a sensation or anything associated with it?
Not particularly. No.
Okay. Then I think Paul sort of having no idea what's going on, and Eamon just sort of putting a hand on his shoulder and starting to mutter. Paul just sort of reaches up and good-naturedly pats the hand.
Right.
A little bit nonplussed, but then.
Yeah, and Eamon will just sort of gesture out for him to follow.
Okay.
So, so Shakes kind of looks over at the rest of you. Oh yeah. Oh, Jonas would have put his hand in as well. Actually, now I think about it.
Oh damn. Okay.
Okay.
Because I wasn't thinking about him at the moment because I was just doing Shakes. So the group of you start to walk in, and she kind of walks up to the door that leads into the food court. Okay. She puts her hands on the door, and for a very brief moment, instead of the black hair, you see white. And instead of the pale skin, you see ice blue. And everything about her seems to, just for a brief flash, be covered in icicles for just the briefest of moments. And then it's gone. And she pushes the door open. And you can feel this cold winter breeze surround you in like a whipping, enveloping wind. Even though it's the middle of autumn.
I mean, that's not the only chill Nina has at the moment. That's all I'm saying.
Do the rest of us see that, or is that only Astrid and Nina?
All of you can see that, yeah.
Okay.
If you want my protection, stay within the wind and follow me.
Here's a question. Does she continue to acknowledge Eamon and Paul, or now that the benediction's taken effect, is she basically ignoring us?
I would say that because she was there when you started doing the benediction and was looking at you, it would take a little bit more to actually hide yourself from her.
Okay.
Maybe once you get out of her sight, she might not be able to see you again.
Mm-hmm.
But because you haven't separated from her, she can still see you.
Okay.
So she proceeds to walk in. Do you guys stay close to her?
Yes.
Probably an uncomfortable level for her.
Eamon's gonna he's gonna draft along behind, but he's keeping up his
Are you staying within the wind?
Recitation, and no, he's not going in the wind. If it's something that he can visibly see and stay out of, he's staying out of.
There's a notable demarcation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This woman reads as trustworthy, and that scares the shit out of him.
All I'm saying is just sometimes the changeling's down on glamour and needs a boost.
Oh, yeah, no. You're not wrong.
And so the group of you walk back into the hall. And the werewolves don't seem to notice you enter. In fact, Jack kind of looks around. Well, either they're just going to wait for the deal to be over, or they're going to start setting up bombs.
One or the other, that is correct.
That is pretty much the two options.
He's a smart one.
Can okay, so this is really weird for Paul because he doesn't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
I think Paul will say in response to that, well, we've had a chance to discuss the situation, and I believe we'll be joining you if we may.
All right, so he
low profile.
He needs to make a chance die roll to see if he even heard that.
Nina's like,
nope, that's not a 10.
dude, we're hidden, all of us.
Paul was not proceeding sort of in the wind of the Fae. So
he's just next to Eamon.
Yeah, exactly. And so he assumed what Paul is still thinking is that, okay, well, he'll give one of his coins to either Nina or Astrid, and then we'll hang back and kind of watch from outside. He has
Nina's already has her phone out and has record pushed.
So no response to Paul's.
No, yeah. So and so he kind of looks over his shoulder at the bald one. Reno, go and check everywhere and see if you can see any signs of anyone setting bombs up, please.
Paul says, "Look, we had a discussion about this again. Remember the whole building trust concept? Nobody's saying anything.
I literally just said something in character.
What did you say in character?
I said, you realize they can't hear you.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah, I heard that, but Paul's thinking is, well, I'm not under the guise of the Fae. Nina must not realize that. I'm not going to give her away by saying anything back, which is why he didn't respond.
Then she says again, Paul, they can't hear you.
He needs to make another chance die roll. That's a 1. He can't hear a
dramatic failure.
Paul looks over and says, "Look,
Jack doesn't get to make another roll for the rest of this scene because he got a dramatic failure on that chance roll."
Paul looks over and says, "Look, we're taking a different approach. I figured the best thing to do would be to let him know, but it seems like." And then he looks over at Shakes and says, Are you looping us in on this regardless? Or
I'm not. I think that's your priestly friend.
Paul will turn and look at Sean,
who's still muttering a prayer.
Who's mumbling under his breath, and Sean will do an elaborate pantomime towards the werewolves and like see no evils, hear no evil, right? While continuing to keep this mumbled prayer going. And then he walks over to Jack Cross, double birds him right in the face, and then walks away.
Paul pinches the bridge of his nose. While doing so, he says,
the entire time while he's flipping the double birds. Blessed be our Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Paul's just going, look, the next time somebody is going to cast some sort of bloody spell on me, just let me know ahead of time. I feel like a right ass.
It's okay. Only the people who are going to be around you for a long period of time afterward and can mock you relentlessly about it saw it. Those are the only people.
Good thing I've aged out of caring about that sort of thing. All right, so I guess and then he kind of trails off and he says, "Wait, is this nobody can see me, or is this just the otherworldly lot?"
I can still see you, so presumably anyone who was around when you started doing that can see you.
Paul considers more and he says, "Look, after this whole thing," it sort of leans in again to Sean and says,
Amen.
We get this wrapped up. What?
You said Sean. Amen.
Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, no, wait.
Jack's character is Eamon.
Because Jack said Sean earlier.
He was talking to his brother.
Yes, I was talking to my brother on the walkie-talkie.
Right, that's what got me. Okay, that's what got me.
That's
sorry.
why.
All right.
That
I thought I
makes
had
sense.
it wrong before. All right. So Paul leans into Eamon and says, "Look, after we get this whole Terminus Tendency incident wrapped up, are you available on sort of
For some
freelance
jobs.
schedule?"
Are you willing to freelance?
It'll be an E.
Eye roll, shrug, still praying.
because I can think of a lot of valuable religious artifacts. They're in decidedly unholy hands.
That gets you an eyebrow.
All right, we'll talk later. I can see you're otherwise occupied, let's say. But Paul is definitely filing that one away.
How long do you think you can keep that prayer up?
It just says as long as you keep praying. So assuming that I don't choke on air or have to take a drink, I should be okay.
Yeah. How long do you think you can go without stumbling saying that prayer repeatedly?
I'll let you decide what the role for that needs to be.
I feel like that's a thing he's probably betraying himself to do for such situations.
We will see how the events unfold.
Yes, we shall. I feel like it would be like a resolve and composure or something like that, but whatever.
We'll find out if I decide there needs to be a role.
Yeah.
So, about an hour passes as the sun begins to go down. The wind does not abate around you, and Eamon continues to keep up his praying for the full duration. There's a couple of times over the course of that hour when Shakes is like, you don't have to keep doing that prayer if you just want to, like...
Look,
sure, I guess.
I realize that this phrase is incredibly ironic considering who I'm saying it to, but hot stuff. You've lost that particular argument.
I'm not even trying to win an argument. I'm just that seems like it's uncomfortable.
But
just he's saying the same stuff over and over again.
He's gonna keep. If he has to do that until he literally dies in order to avoid having to. It's gonna happen.
I just want to know why he's so afraid of me.
Have you read anything?
I mean, yes, but that's the Fae. I'm not the Fae.
Call it a lifetime of experience. And the inherent Catholic concern about dealing with anything outside of the church. And Paul will smile at it.
I mean, yeah, I guess even the Catholic changelings are a little, nah.
I'm sorry, you just said Catholic changelings, and
Yep. Yep. Oh, it happens. Yep.
that's where my thought process went in that exact direction.
All I'm saying is Nero had a lot going on.
Nero had a lot going.
And so as time passes, Reno, the bald-headed werewolf, comes back and sort of whispers to Jack, all right, I guess they're just watching from a safe distance then. All right, well, sun's going down. Shouldn't be too long. And about 20 minutes later, the sound of doors opening across the hall echoes out. And about a dozen pale-skinned individuals step out into the dark, the night air of the food court. At the head of which is an individual with long, sort of shoulder-length, flowing brown hair, with sort of steel blue eyes, neatly trimmed goatee, of pale skin, with a variety of faded tattoos across his arms and face, dressed in a sort of well-appointed long button-up shirt with a vest. The sleeves are rolled up, and he, with his sort of like faintly glowing yellow eyes, steps out in front. Jack? Archer?
Does he look like the one we saw in the shadows?
Yes.
Okay.
He's exactly the same person. And the two of them sort of step close so that they can hide their voice from people who are like up in the rafters who might be listening in. But you guys are in the same room. You're about 10, 15, maybe 20 feet away. And even the howling wind doesn't keep the sound from reaching you. So where is she? The weird ones, the crazy werewolves things, the messed up ones that you warned us about. They've got, from what I can tell, one of my tunnel crawlers found signs of them in the sewers. They seem to have dug some hefty tunnels alongside the sewer system, which they sort of use to guide their movement, from what I can tell. The sewers here, we're not talking like catacombs under the ground. These sewers are newer than that. They're too small for, most humans who to walk without having to crouch, let alone one of you guys in full war mode. But they seem to have dug their own tunnels to go alongside them and sort of use them as a guideline. And the ones you're looking for, your mate. Yeah, let's just go ahead and call it what it is, I guess. Your mate was last seen being brought down there by one of my scouts. That was the last place that we saw her. We've scouted out these tunnels. We're really good at staying hidden. We can show you if you're willing to promise us, like you said, that we can get out from under the Colonel, be safe, and get away from all of this. There's a lot going on right now, and I've got a lot of people to keep safe. I've got a lot of people to keep fed safely without drawing too much attention, because I know if I draw too much attention to myself, the people I used to be are going to find us, and we won't. That's going to end in blood. Too much blood.
Really quick. Sorry, people. I know you heard something. Some people work while they're gaming and open up tabs that autoplay videos.
Nice.
Also, fuck autoplay videos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And Jack kind of, yeah, they've been poking their nose around with us too, but I get that. Yeah, if you can show me where to find Kara, I'll get you out of here and away from the Colonel. What happens after that's up to you. If you draw attention to yourselves and they come hunting, I won't be protecting you after that. Archer kind of, yeah, that's about all I can ask. Well, I guess there's no point standing around here then, is there? We should probably get going. All right, yeah. Show me where we're going. He kind of nods, kind of looks around. He's going to make a check, and it's not actually a chance roll. There's not a lot of dice, but it's not a chance roll. Nope. Kind of looks around, doesn't seem to see anything out of place. All right, yeah. We're going to be heading a ways away. It's on the other side of Atlanta. It's the sort of around Hartsfield Jackson, sort of.
I do have one thing I want to do before they all leave.
Yeah.
I want to try to put one of my coins into Archer's pocket.
Make a dexterity larceny.
Okay.
And I want to try to slip a grenade in. No, I'm kidding.
Can I
the Fallout reverse pickpocket maneuver.
I was gonna refer to it as Malkavian style prank, but sure.
Yeah.
So I have a specialization in pickpocketing, so I add +1 from that, right?
Yep.
And then anything from being magically invisible?
Nah.
2 success.
You've put the coin in his pocket.
I think he'll do that and then give Astrid a thumbs up.
She'll nod.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to do that before we moved on.
Yep. And it's at that point that The two of them kind of look to their individual retinues and both kind of nod to them and then look at each other. Well, probably easiest if we just meet up at Hartsfield Jackson. Meet us there, and we'll walk the rest of the way on foot. Probably easiest to find it that way. So, are we clear to go?
From this exchange, is it pretty apparent that Archer is more or less the leader of the vampire faction currently, or is he kind of more of a mouthpiece?
Of these vampires here, all of them seem to be standing behind him. Yeah, he definitely seems to be leading this group. So are we free to go? Jack kind of looks around. Everything looks clear. My boys tell me there's no sign of tampering around. Nobody seems to have messed with anything. Yeah, let's get going. You want to ride? No, thanks. I'd rather not push good fortune any further than I have to, he says, as he's kind of still looking around. And you see his eyes sort of, they were faintly yellowish before, they begin to glow as he sort of looks around.
You said that's Archer, or that's
Archer. As damn. As his eyes begin to glow, he looks around and then freezes.
Who is he staring?
And his head just kind of slowly turns and locks eyes with Eamon.
Eamon, who is, because this is a food court, right?
Yeah.
Has been sitting at a table, like in a chair, playing with an old, like, lunch tray, more or less. Murmuring under his breath the entire time. And now this vampire is basically eyeballing him.
Would my eye make that any harder for him?
Let me see. What does I have hubris do for you? 1 second. Need to read that again.
I think it specifically interferes with werewolves and mages, but I mean, it depends on, is this magic that he's using?
Let me check here real quick.
Sure.
Enter the Vigil.
But actually, and this is a case where both in character and out of character, I just don't know a heck of a lot about vampires in this
Out
system.
of character, probably not, unless he's using thaumaturgy. Thaumaturgy works sort of like magic in the crossover stuff that they've done. Disciplines aren't really the same.
Yeah, no, it's not enough. It's not magical enough to be affected by the Eye of Hubris.
Okay, all right.
And yeah, he definitely he has locked eyes with you. You can tell he has seen you.
Yawn, stops the praying, stretches.
At this point, Jack's attention immediately snaps over.
Nina has her gun out, ready to use if need be, but is not doing anything yet.
Paul is still sort of watching this with growing alarm, but is...
Seems you've come to a rather balanced form of deal and understanding. We'll be on our way. Stands up, hands drop to the hips where both the blades are. Unless anybody has any further questions for those who are representing the greater population of the area.
Archer kind of looks at you for a minute.
Oh.
I've seen you before.
That you probably have. And your sister says hello.
I look over at
I'm sure she does.
Shakes. Drop the effect on me.
All you have to do is step out of the wind.
Foomp.
You step out of the wind, and suddenly everyone turns and sees you as well.
Sup, motherfuckers?
I just, for the record, I just rolled two successes on trying not to be seen in a normal way.
Yeah, no. That's what she's just trying to provide our erstwhile cleric with some backup.
As Paul, meanwhile, sort of slides under the table.
I'm sure she does. Tell her. I honestly don't know what to tell her.
Can you give a general inclination?
I don't think there are words that can explain anything or reconcile anything.
Is it in the more sorry, the more get fucked, the more like...
I mean, you know the woman. She's going to ask us questions when we get back to her. Give us at least something to carry along.
I guess. Sorry. And it's never quite what it seems.
At that, Astrid is going to step out.
Oh.
Paul's like, what are you people doing?
Why are you all dumb?
His head immediately snaps to, and you see this sort of immediate widening of his eyes, and the yellow glow of the supernatural ability just immediately fades as he sort of just takes in everything with the pseudo-normal eyes that he's had this entire time. And Ash?
Archer.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you gonna kill me?
I honestly don't know.
He kind of stands up straight. I mean, I don't exactly have a lot that can stop you. He looks at his hands. These things don't work anymore. I guess that's what happens when you turn from God.
Astrid is shaking at this point.
Does he have the same tattoos on his hands?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a duty to fulfill, but I guess you found me once, you can find me again. If you want to shoot me, talk to me, anything in between. But right now, there's some very bad things that need to die worse than I do. So, I'm sorry. I really am. And if you want to cut my head off at some point, sure. But I've got to get these people safe, and I've got to deal with something darker than I am. Jack, let's go. Right. And the retinues begin to turn and head out a different exit than the ones that you guys are all standing by.
I wave to Jack in the...
He kind of looks over his shoulder at you and kind of narrows one eye. They begin to leave.
So, are we following or leaving him go for now?
Paul tries to look nonchalant as he walks over from his hiding place, and says,
"Oh shite! Sean, don't shoot out any engine blocks.
But I just found the perfect shot.
I know. Yeah, they're coming out. We're probably going to need to shadow these for a bit to see where they're actually ending up. Come on back to the van.
Fucking blue ball me a piece of...
And squelch.
Astrid, you all right? Stupid question.
She'll just give a slight nod.
You okay to follow him along, or do you want to maybe sit this one out?
No, I'm following.
All right. Then let's get on the road.
So, just to be clear, because I just want to verbalize it and put it out there. We're following the really bad monsters and the fairly less bad monsters, so that we're to a place where they're going to go underground, where there are few modes of escape, where they're going to kill things that are worse than the really bad monsters, but as dangerous as the not so bad monsters. In close quarters.
Paul says, I'm not necessarily saying we need to follow him down underground, but as you point out, there are relatively few points of escape, and we do have a van full of explosives.
Oh, I'm not even saying that we shouldn't go down there. I just want to make sure it's verbalized. I just want to make sure that it's verbalized for everybody, so that everybody knows what we're getting into.
Boy, that's about what it seemed like it sized up to me.
Right.
I'm all for going down and visiting a little fucking furry on Twilight violence, but
I feel I wouldn't be doing us a service if I didn't put out the practical approach here would be to follow them along, put explosives on all points of entry, and detonate them and let them tear each other apart.
I have concerns about that.
I'm not suggesting that that's the best approach of action, but it is a possibility.
It is absolutely a possibility. It's one. I mean, Astrid, this is your game. Again, it's something that I have certain qualms with the idea of blowing up Jack and company.
I don't want to blow them up.
All right.
Okay.
My thought was more on the we follow them there, we let them go down and confront whatever it is. And if the people that happen to be left over coming out are of the persuasion that we'd rather see not walking above ground anymore, then we're probably in a better tactical position to take them out after they're coming out tired and bloody, rather than trying to find another time when we might be meeting them on more even turf. And if whatever the worst horribleness is that they're confronting down there is what comes out, at least it's had to fight its way through a whole bunch of wolves and vampires before it gets to us.
That also seems
be arguing against that
practical enough for me.
You're Catholic, but I have no good arguments.
Look, I'm not the one that's stupid enough to be making deals with the fair folk. And I realise that it worked out well for you, at least in the short term, but I swear to Christ, it's probably going to come back and bite you in the ass.
Oh, it probably will.
Actually, what it's going to do is let me get my people out of there before that all goes down. So thank you all for that help. That information was very useful.
Not a problem. But yes, it is probably going to bite me in the ass at some point.
Wait, your people are the ones that have Jack's mate?
No, my people live in that area. My people live all over Atlanta. There's a lot of people who have been through some very bad shit.
Let me just say in general, this wouldn't be a bad time for all of you to collectively to take maybe a mini break away for a while.
Yeah. You want me to tell? I mean, it's only like maybe 1,000th, but 1,000th of the population of Atlanta to just up and leave.
Why not put all your fair-gotten gains to use?
What I'm saying is there's more people than you think there are. Less than you might fear, but more than you might think. And they live a wide breadth away from each other because we've all been through a lot of shit. And we all have different ways of dealing with that shit.
I mean...
And this may be my out-of-character misunderstanding. I thought she was talking about the people in the specific neighborhood to which the vampires and werewolves are driving.
And she did mention that particular one, but my thing in particular, yes, that area, yeah, we're gonna have to.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to take a trip, but
fair.
Trust and we certainly have no interest in anyone in the area who's not actively posing a danger to anyone else getting hurt.
That said, if you do happen to know of anybody who's a particular danger to the community in that area, I would love to hear about it. I'm not just talking about, Deely or Fangy or the like. But we can talk about that later.
We absolutely should. We should definitely talk about that later. Do you want my number?
Yes, absolutely I do.
She will give you a cell phone number.
All right.
I'm Shakes.
Nina.
Nina?
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know that there can be at least maybe acquaintances among the mundanes.
Let's just say, let's instead call it people who recognize the value of mutual self-interest.
Sure. Benefactors.
For now. Let's not use that term. Also keep away from things like patron.
No, let's not use that one specifically.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow.
All right. You go get your people gone.
Yeah, don't worry. Unless we want you to see us, you won't know we're there. And
that doesn't make me feel better.
That is just like us telling the stories. We didn't have to tell you that we were going to set explosives. Right?
Yeah. Like, I came here and talked to you because I wanted to try and get that olive branch. So, bye. Hopefully we'll meet again. Hopefully we'll do good business.
Yeah, we'll see.
And she leaves out the door that you guys came in because that's not the door that the vampires and werewolves are going to.
Yes, Eamon, I know that's going to end in misery and bloodshed and tears. I am well aware.
Look, when it comes to... All right, werewolves are fucking death machines, and if they're willing to live and let live, then I say we're lucky.
Right.
Vampires are fucking predators, but the church, and you can shove a wooden stake in them if you can get the jump. There's powers in the church that can help you with that. The fair folk are fucking crazy. They've got weird ass powers that the church can't do shite about, and
wait a minute. Eamon, Are you trying to tell me that the church isn't all powerful and can't deal with everything?
I've never tried to portray that it does.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Look, all of your fundamental bullshit theology, sure, they can argue whatever the fuck they want. I'm interested in protected people, and if there's shite out there that can just sneak up and co-opt you and fucking turn you inside out and puppet master you around it, I don't want anything to do with it.
Don't you think if she could have done that, she would have?
I think they don't necessarily take the most practical approach to things, and they like fucking around with people for fun.
I think you're probably right. But
I think the puppeteers are what they're running from, Jonas says.
I think that you're probably very, very right. But I think that particular one... Look, we're all at varying degrees of the definition of the term people. People have different motivations. I'm sure there are absolutely terrible ones. Just like I'm sure that there are furballs we need to put down. Or just like there are plenty of normal flesh and blood breathing, completely mundane people that need to be put 6 feet under.
Oh, aye.
Everything, at least I know and that I've picked up off that one, says we can at least have conversations.
Well, aye, and you can have a conversation with a fucking tiger as well, but I'm less inclined to make friends with it. Look,
do you think I'm making friends and not being friendly while knowing fully well that that's a very dangerous creature?
Aye.
Not that this isn't riveting, but are we following them?
Yeah.
I think actually while that conversation was going on, Paul sidles up to Astrid, reaches into the one of the pockets of his blazer and pulls out a little tin and pops it open, and it's full of little hard candies in fruit shapes, and he just silently offers it to Astrid.
She refuses.
Okay. He grabs one and pops it into his mouth and then puts them away and says, my own little indulgence when I'm feeling stressed. A bit of a sweet tooth, I'm afraid. But yeah, I agree with you. Let's get on the road.
Valid point. Sorry.
I feel like we can have further debates regarding the merits of the church versus fairies, apparently. Still trying to get my mind around that one. But while we're driving.
I mean, and Eamon will call Sean and make sure that they're on their way.
Yep, they're on their way back to the van.
I'm just waiting for the day that somebody tells me that the creature of the Black Lagoon is real, because at this point I will believe fucking anything supernatural is real if there's enough evidence to that effect.
Did you see that movie, by the way?
Loch Ness is a lie.
Have you swam down there? Find out.
What I'm saying is I'm drawing the line.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm just right there.
That's
the maximum I can take.
What I'm asking is, have you actually been down that lake?
I've taken a hike around the rim, and I didn't see shite, and I really hope I never do. But just Loch Ness is where I draw the line.
What is on either side of that line?
Sure, things that can be animals 1 minute and people the next, and absolutely the fair folk are real, and I just don't want anything to do with them because they scare the shite out of me. And sure, sometimes people die and then get up and start using other people as juice boxes instead. But big water monsters that are living in the bottom of Scottish lakes, that's where I draw the line.
What's on the other side of that line? What's more crazy?
I don't know what, and I hope I never find it. A man's got to have limits, is all I'm saying.
Don't have to.
And for your education, I guess, Paul, from what research I can gather, changelings aren't fairies. They're people that have been really fucked up by fairies, but not fairies themselves.
And do they tend to pass that along, or are they opposed to fairies? Or, you know what? That's a whole separate line of inquiry we could get into.
I don't know a whole lot about changeling social dynamics, but they all seem like really, really fragile people in a lot of ways.
Yep.
And that can make them dangerous in a lot of ways too. Because they got some weird powers from being fucked up by fairies.
I mean,
you just saw.
well, no, I was gonna say an average everyday teenager is potentially dangerous if backed up against a wall. And they're pretty fragile too. At least every teenager I ever met.
And at this point, Sean and Drew and Colleen are back.
I was going to say, speaking of teenagers.
Astrid is going to take her bike.
The one that you stowed in the van?
Yes.
Yep.
Like, she'll go to the van, but she's going to take her bike.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I will follow you.
Like in the U-Haul too. So.
Oh, that's right, because we've got you guys have a truck now too, don't you?
Yes. A really, really shitty truck.
Yep. But that's what the bombs are in, so somebody should be driving that.
Or you can just leave it at Gwinnett Place Mall. I'm sure nobody would question it.
Are we? We should bring it just in case the wrong.
My brother can drive the van, and I'll drive your
fine.
shitty truck.
Fine.
Even though the steering wheel's on the wrong side.
I peel out and I drive off. And then make it about halfway down the block, turn around, come back, it's like, I don't know where we're going. Like
Paul looks over at Eamon and says, I can drive if you'd rather drive with your brother. I don't mind.
Aye, this is fine. I don't. You want to come along? We can be the explosives caretakers.
Sure. I can't see how that could go wrong.
You guys, by the way, did not notice, like, you guys walked outside and there's no trace of shakes.
Right. Which does not surprise Eamon at all.
Do we, at this point, have an indication of which way the unholy cavalcade went?
They said they were going to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport.
Okay.
Which is on the other side of Atlanta.
All right. I will hop into the passenger seat of the truck and then activate my my one-eyed jack, roll it over my knuckles, and put it over the remaining eye, and just
tell me what to look for.
See what I can spot.
From within Archer's pocket, you see him sitting in the passenger seat of a mid-sized sort of I was trying to think of the class of car, but it's a car. It's not a truck.
Like a Mercedes or
like a Chevrolet, like a like a Malibu. And sort of sitting in the passenger seat with another individual pale of skin with long white hair, with this sort of elegantly trimmed mustache beard, with these red eyes and this sort of like mid-Renaissance Spanish look to his outfit.
Okay.
This individual speaks up. This is very similar to the environment that I walked away from in Chicago. But the political scenario there was, shall we say, more dangerous, if only because of the attempted apocalypse there. And Archer kind of looks over. Alexander, that doesn't make me feel any better. I'll be 100% honest. I'm just saying, there are far worse things than an alliance with werewolves to battle more dark things. You could be forced to battle those dark things with no help whatsoever, or with the help of people who have gone so far down this path of soulless monstrosity that their sanity isn't even a question. It's more of a mercurial state of being. And the Archer kind of, well, I guess the only thing that I can do now is walk along this path. Yes, well, you've started to walk this path, and the only thing you can do is see it to its completion. Believe me, I had to walk many a dark path. But we'll deal with this, and then perhaps we'll deal with the Colonel, if this truce with the werewolves lasts, although that might not be a possibility. Maybe. But at least with you as a teacher, I think I have a chance, maybe. I don't know where I'd be if I had to do this by myself. Yes, well, back in Chicago, I was known as the sire of the sireless, because it was something I made my duty to take care of those who did not know where to go and how to handle these things. As the sort of very Spanish individual continues to drive, this conversation just sort of goes to much less interesting topics of just sort of idle conversation.
Can I see anything out the window as far as street signs or anything like that to indicate what route they're on?
They seem to be on... they're on 85 southbound right now.
Probably 85 south.
I just want to make sure that matches up with where they said they were going.
Yeah, that's headed towards Atlanta to get to the other side of it.
Okay. All right, great. I will then take the coin off my eye, sit up, and say, "Well, it looks like they're headed in the direction they said they were going to, at least." So, are you familiar with 85? You want me to look it up on a map?
No, 85 is that's the one that cuts down to the city and then swings around the west side of the airport. So that seems to track. And he will very deliberately put on his turn signal and head that direction.
All right.
All right. And as you begin to make your way down Highway 85 southbound, heading towards the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport to see what the hell these werewolves and vampires are working together against, that's where we'll end for the week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.